Clarifying recent headlines on gaming content. MasterCard has not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms. Contrary to media reports and allegations, our payment networks follow standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure MasterCard cards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. They legit are trying to gaslight the internet into believing they are not responsible. Because let's put this in perspective, okay? 2 weeks ago, Steam legit, like, I'm going to pull up the screenshots. Madam Savvy actually has some screenshots here I'm going to use. But Steam legit created an entirely new policy, Policy 15, to literally bend the knee and kiss the boots of payment processors like Visa and MasterCard. And when you have Steam, and not just Steam, itch.io, and when you have multiple media reports for years now, you can see this spans back for years ago, goes back to 2024, you have stuff that's from 2022, you can see that they're just lying for their teeth. They're actually truly believing that they can gaslight the internet into believing that they are not responsible, or at the very least partially responsible, for why so much stuff has been censored, at least in the last 2 weeks. That's not even getting into the stuff that's been going on with Japan, and even stuff prior to that, most likely. What I'm trying to say is that what this clearly shows, this statement from MasterCard is showing the entire world right now, is that they are bleeding. They are feeling pressure. And let's explain why. First off, we need to talk about just how massive this story has gotten. Obviously, we have seen it. I've been talking about it day by day, but the whole censorship and then to just a real ID, forced age verification, government stepping in and invading your privacy and all these different type of things, this story has blown to astronomical levels of just media coverage. A lot of people now are starting to talk about it, and stuff like this cannot just be swept under the rug. It can't, because people are talking about this and people are rightfully pissed about the situation, because obviously you have gamers and you have anime fans, manga readers sitting in their own little corner of the internet, and they're reading their content, they're watching their content, or they are playing their games. They stick to themselves. They don't want to get involved with anything going on in the real world. Most of the time that people that get involved in these hobbies doing anime, manga, and games, they want to just not think about real life. They want to immerse themselves into these fictional worlds, and that's it. They don't want to think about anything else. Now, I'm not saying that this is a wide paintbrush that, is everyone is going to have the exact same thoughts. But the point is that gamers, anime fans, and manga readers typically like to stick to themselves. But when you attack their hobbies, you come after them, they will retaliate. And in this case, this entire situation has blown up to such a high degree that people are not going to just back off. They are going to keep voicing their opinion and being very upset about the situation. And as we all know about last weekend, when last weekend happened, we had 4chan announce that they were gonna, initiate Operation Fight Fire with Fire, and they were pretty much going to be spam calling Visa, MasterCard, I'm assuming PayPal, Collective Shout, and everything, just basically saying they've had enough. They've had enough of this rampant censorship, and they've just been spamming them non-stop. I've seen multiple covers and, articles and posted stuff of showcasing actual conversations with Visa or MasterCard employees, and how these Visa and MasterCard employees are just getting fed up or just hanging up, or they're yelling at customers now, just asking legitimate questions. It shows that these card companies, these payment processors, they are feeling pressure. They are realizing that they cannot just sweep this under the rug and it's going to go away. It is getting a lot worse. And this statement, honestly, is the most damning thing that they could have said, because it just looks so incredibly bad. Because let's put this in perspective, okay? In the last 2 weeks, if we're not even factoring the stuff about age verification in governments, okay, we disregard that for now, we just talk about strictly gaming getting censored, anime and manga, we gotta look at the facts here. Collective Shout, yes, we know they're an awful group. They're a feminist activist group from Australia that's done a lot of damage. But we obviously know that they've been a mouthpiece for other entities probably behind them. They are more or less just a fall guy. They are a fall girl, technically, in this case, for the real serious people that are causing issues behind the scenes. And the thing is that Collective Shout even mentioned in their statements multiple times that they could not get a hold of Steam or itch.io, so they directly contacted Visa and MasterCard and other payment processors. They directly contacted them. Now, I understand that Collective Shout are known liars. They have lied about a few things already, but we do need to talk about this and why this is important and why we need to take their words to a little bit more serious nature. It's because it's not just Collective Shout saying that they've contacted payment processors to get games and stuff censored. It's the fact that Steam and even itch.io has just went out and stated that payment processors have just said, if you don't remove these adult games, we're backing out. We're basically going to blacklist you. You're not going to be able to make money anymore. And so that is why Steam literally made an entirely new policy, Policy 15, to outline that they will remove games on a whim if payment processors want them to remove it. And so with this from Steam, official statements from Steam basically making an entirely new policy just for payment processors, to itch.io basically name dropping them just after this, Collective Shout obviously calling them out and saying that they personally contacted Visa and MasterCard to deal with the situation of Steam games at itch.io, to having basically a paper trail of years of Japan dealing with this situation, to either doujin sites, anime sites, manga sites, and yes, even dating sites, dating apps in Japan being affected by payment processors. No, it's just like, there's no way that MasterCard is telling the truth. Either all these different sites, these different countries itself, like Japan, is straight up lying, or MasterCard is lying. And so, do not let MasterCard gaslight you into believing what they're doing here is the truth. They are lying through their teeth. They are hoping that they can sweep this all under the rug, because obviously the entire situation has blown up to such a massive proportion that they realize that they're catching a lot of heat. And as this continues to grow, as this fire continues to rage, there will be some form of restrictions that come in to hit them with the hammer. For instance, like, for example, antitrust law to break up their monopoly. And then eventually Visa will have to do the exact same thing. Because if MasterCard gets hit by this, that means that Visa will in turn also get hit as well. And let's be blunt, Visa is the bigger card provider. They are way bigger than MasterCard ever will be, but it doesn't change the fact that all these debit cards, credit card companies, these payment processors, they are in league with each other, and they collectively have a monopoly. They are a cartel/mafia. And the fact that MasterCard is feeling this pressure, the fact that they even went out of their way to make a statement like this, goes to show that they are feeling the pressure by the internet itself, and that if this continues to get worse, it's going to blow back in their face to such an extreme degree that most likely their companies are going to be split up or hit with some very major antitrust law violations. Whatever happens, obviously do not stop talking about the entire situation. Now, on some good news. Technically, this news is good because they're lying, but it showcases that we're in the stage they're lying, but then they'll probably soon admit that they've been responsible for a very long time. We do need to talk about the situation with itch.io. So as we know, about a week and a half ago, itch.io removed thousands of games after Steam had to create an entirely new policy removing hundreds of different adult games. And itch.io basically nuked their entire adult catalog. I've talked about this already extensively, and it left a lot of people, high and dry. And yesterday night, it was revealed that itch.io will be re-indexing. What this basically means is re-adding games on their platform again, adult games, NSFW games, that are labeled free. Now, obviously, this means that games that, or game developers that were making a living off of releasing adult games or just games in general, they're still affected by this, and obviously, this isn't probably the news they wanted to hear. However, this showcases that itch.io isn't remaining neutral. This showcases that itch.io is trying to help out the gaming community in any way they possibly can, because obviously what has happened in the last week and a half has damaged their brand. And I think anyone saying that hasn't happened is lying, because let's be honest here, after what has happened to this platform alone, a lot of people are going to be a little bit more on edge to even release their games on itch.io, because they might assume that any given moment their games could be pulled off the platform and they will lose their income or money. So the brand of itch.io, the site in general, has taken damage that honestly is going to take years upon years to actually rectify and win the community back. But even then, I'm still happy to see that itch.io is trying their best to bring adult games back to their platform in any way they possibly can. Obviously, they're only able to add free games if you label it free, and the reason why they're doing this is because of payment processors, which gets into the discussion with, MasterCard, Visa, and how they're lying, because it's like, either all these companies are lying, or MasterCard and Visa's lying about them blocking payments. I'm willing to believe all the other customers and businesses and stuff that's been getting, kind of screwed over by MasterCard for a while, and there's a paper trail of years of them actually doing it. But back into the itch.io stuff. I'm very happy to see that they are trying in some shape or form. This is good news. It is good news. It isn't the overwhelming 100% great news, but it is a small step of showcasing some goodwill by the website trying to do something right. Now, as for MasterCard Visa, as I've said, do not let up. Keep speaking out about this. I'm glad to see that pretty much the entire internet is continuing to talk about this. And yeah, I will follow up with any more information if it comes out. There's been a lot more other crazier stuff that's come out in the last 24 hours, but this one is what's really important at the moment because obviously we got an official response from a payment processor. But I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.